Thanks for joining us this week for UND Sports Extra. I'm Alex Heinert. Coming up, we'll talk about the return of UND women's hockey after the long holiday break with Brian Idalski. But the hardwood is where we will begin tonight. The North Dakota men and women were coming off sweeps of northern Arizona and southern Utah a week ago. But the competition would get tougher this weekend with perennial favorites Montana State and Montana on the schedule. The UND women entered Thursday's contest as one of only two Big Sky teams with a perfect conference record, but Michaela Dyer and company would face stiff competition all night from reigning Big Sky regular season champs Montana State. The Bobcats would lead for most of the first half and carry a 10-point advantage into the break, but North Dakota would fire back after halftime. After cutting the MSU lead to 4 after the third, a 9-0 run in the fourth would give the Fighting Hawks a 62-57 lead in the final minutes of regulation. The Cats, though, would close the gap and send the game into overtime on 2 of Peyton Ferris's 32 points on the night. Trailing 74-71 with 4 seconds left, Dyer's long-distance attempt to force a second OT would rattle in and out, sending UND to their first Big Sky defeat of the season. Dyer would finish with 19 points, while Sam Roscoe would post her first collegiate double-double with 12 points, 12 boards, and 6 blocks. North Dakota would look to rebound from Thursday's loss 2 days later against the Montana team on a 7-game losing skid. And even though the Lady Grizz would hang tough through halftime, UND would never trail in this one and earn a 73-63 victory. North Dakota would snag 21 offensive rebounds on the day and outboard Montana 46-32, with 11 of those rebounds accounted for by Fallon Freegee. The sophomore would notch 13 points as well for her first double-double at the collegiate level. Lexi Clabo would pace UND with 21 points, her second 20-point effort in UND's last 4 games, while Michaela Dyer would chip in 16 and help North Dakota improve to 10-7 on the year and 5-1 in conference.
In this conference, we have to separate ourselves, and you can already see some teams are kind of trying to do that already. The race is going to be tight, though, so we knew we had to at least split, and we want to go try and steal one on the road.
Meanwhile, out in literal Big Sky country, the North Dakota men faced off against a high-scoring Montana State team Thursday in a game that was tight throughout. UND would go 9 for 11 from the floor from the opening tip to build a 7-point advantage midway through the first, only to see the Bobcats charge back and take a 42-38 lead into halftime. Not to be deterred, the Fighting Hawks would shoot 57% in the second half and force 9 MSU turnovers after the break to pull in front with 7:45 left, and they would never relinquish the lead from there. Quentin Hooker would score a game-high 24 points, while Gino Crandall and Connor Avance would go for 22 and 20 respectively to help UND earn the 90-85 road win and run their winning streak to 4 straight. Saturday would bring a tougher challenge in a Montana team tied with UND for second place in the Big Sky standings at 4-1, and the two sides would play each other even for much of the contest. The Grizz would lead by just 1 at the half, but a balanced Montana scoring attack that saw 4 players hit double figures would end up being the difference in the second, as the home team would grind out a 76-70 win. Gino Crandall would post a career-high 28 points on 10 of 13 shooting, but his teammates would struggle to hit from the field, shooting a combined 36% in the defeats. The loss leaves UND now at 4-2 in Big Sky play. Even though North Dakota's 4-game winning streak comes to an end, still lots of positives to take for Brian Jones and company. The head coach will stop by after the break to talk about the week.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by Farmers Union Insurance and the University of North Dakota.
Well, there are a few places in Big Sky country as difficult to travel to as Bozeman and Missoula, but North Dakota men's basketball able to escape the mountains of Montana with a big split over the Cats and the Grizz. And here to talk about it, the head coach Brian Jones. And Brian, again, tough places certainly to go play, places that not many teams have success at, but a good weekend for you guys out there.
It was. We played really well. I even felt we played better Saturday than we did Thursday night. But honestly, we'd take a split on that road trip. As you mentioned, it is a difficult place to play. We didn't play great on Thursday, but we started great, then finished really well. So just in between, we had some growing opportunities, but I couldn't be more impressed with our guys just staying together and really understanding what it takes to win in those type of environments.
Yeah. You mentioned the start in Bozeman against Montana State, 9 of 11, I think, from the field to open things up, and then things went a little bit cold over the middle portion of the game. What was the difference there between the hot start and what happened after?
Valuing the basketball, and 2, foul trouble. I think it came down to just some quick shooting and turnovers that led Montana to get some easy baskets and that allowed them to get in a rhythm offensively.
You were down by as many as 8 early in that second half, and then the shooting started to pick up. You ended up shooting 57% over the second 20 minutes. Guys just seemed to find their shot and make it count in that second half.
It did. I mean, Quentin Hooker made some tough shots, but I think at the same time we were doing a great job of making the extra pass and finding a good shot to a great shot. I think Cortez Seals did a great job down the stretch of driving the basketball and dropping it off to Connor Avance. And we had 3 guys who had really, really phenomenal nights offensively. So to me, that's where it showed. We in the first half, we got off to a great start because we were defending. Second half, they got a lead, but then we started defending again. We were scoring off our defense, and then down in crunch time, we were moving the ball and making them guard longer possessions and then just making the extra pass and having confidence in making a shot.
Yeah, certainly. Defense picking up, offensively picked up. Free throws as well, 22 of 26 for the game. You only missed one free throw in the entire second half. It's a team that doesn't shoot free throws great, but you guys stepped up certainly.
Yeah, we're shooting them better in the league, and we're continuing to work on. The guy who missed is our best foul shooter, by the way. That was Quentin who missed the one shot. So, but yeah, I mean, it's something on the road. You have to make foul shots. You have to value the basketball. You have to rebound just to give yourselves a chance. And I think we did a fairly good job of all 3 of those categories.
Yeah, you were in the 90-85 win against Montana State. You turned around and go to Dahlberg Arena on Saturday to take on a Montana team that was streaking just like you were. They beat you by 25 out there in that building last year, a much tighter affair this time around.
Well, we just challenged our guys. Honestly, we haven't played well in that building against them. And it's kind of like what we talked about going down to Fargo when we played NDSU. We just haven't played well. So we just challenged our guys that way, and I thought we came out of the gates. The first 4-minute game, we were up 10-9. So I think that starts when you get out of the gate strong and you compete and you can really take the fight to them, as I always say. I thought we really battled back in the second half, and it was a great college basketball game. Again, our guys really competed and they showed a lot of character. We really defended at a high level. They had some guys have some big nights, but the keys to our game, we wanted to limit them to 6 or fewer threes, and they had 4. So I think we did a really phenomenal job because that's a big part of what they do. They thrive in transition just like we do. We gave up 2 baskets in transition. So 2 of the 3 keys, we did an excellent job and gave ourselves a chance to win.
Yeah, and you certainly did. I mean, this was really a one-score game throughout, a very close contest from start to finish. Dino Crandall, a big part of that effort, 28 points for him, a career night. Nobody else really came along, though, in the scoring category. They were able to hold down Quentin Hooker his first game under 20. He only had 8 in this contest, but he had scored 20-plus for you 4 straight during this win streak.
Yeah.
What were some of the things they were doing to take him away?
Well, I think they had bodies around him all night. He missed some bunnies around the rim, which he usually makes. And, I give a lot of credit to them. They kept fresh guards on him. It just wasn't one guy. And, Gino obviously had it going, so the ball was in his hands a little bit more. So, but, I thought some of our other guys off the bench gave us some valuable minutes. But, yeah, it's when we're our best, it's not just Q. It's Gino's playing well, Connor's playing well. Obviously, Cortez gives us a pop off the bench, but our post player, Carson Shanks. So that's as we move forward in this league race, we got to continue to have that balance. It just can't be a one-man show.
It was a close 76-70 defeat. One big positive, though, Drick Bernstein making a comeback in this weekend. That was his first start against the Grizz. He looks like himself, 11 rebounds in that contest. Good to see him back playing healthy.
It is. We need him. He's such a big part of who we are and what we do. It's just his motor, his rebounding, his facilitating on the offensive end. And when you have a knee injury, I mean, sometimes it just takes you some time just to. And his gift is his feet and his legs. And when there's an injury to that, it's not always easy to be your best. So it was good to have him back, and as we're going to need him obviously this week with a huge week for us, and as we move forward with Weber State coming in undefeated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, certainly a big test coming up. Now you're sitting at 4-2 in conference, just a little bit back off of where Weber is at, undefeated still in the season so far. Idaho State as well coming up on Saturday, but the big test Thursday night. This is a Wildcat team who you beat last year in Grand Forks, a big win for you. Talk about the challenges they're going to face come Thursday.
Well, the biggest challenge is you got to play at a tempo, a pace, how hard. That's the biggest thing against Weber State. You got to play harder than them because they bring it every night. They're obviously undefeated, but they go about their business workmanlike. So we got to have that focus and urgency and energy from the start.
Yeah, big undefeated test coming up on Thursday, Coach. Idaho State on Saturday. We'll have both of those games live on Midco Sports Network. Brian, best of luck this week.
Thank
you. Coming up next, UND men got the split. UND women earned the split as well this week. We'll talk about that with Travis Brewster after the break. Back here in studio to break down the week that was in UND women's basketball, the head coach, Travis Brewster. And coach, one close overtime loss, one good win. Talk about just how this team maybe took a step or two forward this last week.
Yeah, anytime you have some adversity, it's an opportunity for you to grow. We got to figure out ways to close out the game, obviously, in tight ones. We gave ourselves a chance once again. And the biggest thing is when you turn around and you have another game after that, you got to bounce back and try to figure out another way to have some success. And we did that. You can't let the last one bother you. So it was a good series for us. Unfortunately, we didn't sweep, but each game matters this time of the year in conference.
Yeah, certainly. Montana State entered that game on Thursday, again defending Big Sky regular season champs. They came out with the better of the play in the first 20 minutes. A big part of that foul trouble. Lexi Klebo missed the majority of that first half on the bench. Her absence had an effect on your team in that first half.
Well, yeah, Lexi's averaging almost a double-double in conference, shooting 60% from the floor. It's just one of those unfortunate situations that you look at. You really want to get the ball in there, and usually that's where Samantha Roscoe steps up and does some nice things for us, and she was having a tough go at it too. So it shows you their focal point was really to take away our inside game there. We needed some other players to step up, and that's what kind of happened with Fallon Frigi there. She did a nice job, and it's just one of those unfortunate things, but it's going to happen.
Yeah. Down by 10 at the half, down by as many as 12 early on in the third. You were able to come back and level the game and then eventually take the lead. But what sparked that turnaround in the second half?
Well, it was our defensive intensity. The biggest thing is our on-ball defense improved a little bit. It was a little sketchy in the first half, obviously. I thought the other thing that was improvement for us was our transition defense. And so we limited their second chance opportunities. And so that was a big one for us to be able to control the boards and get back in defense.
You'd eventually push it to overtime, and in that extra frame, you would get to the free throw line, 5 of 6 from the stripe, but just couldn't seem to get any space for any field goals to fall. How big is that to just not see the ball drop in the bucket like that, even though you're getting to the line and scoring points?
Well, the thing about it is you got to stay with that process because that's what's going to win you ball games. It's going to win you more ball games than you're going to lose. It's frustrating in one aspect because we work on it. But the other part about it is that's what we want to do. We want to win ball games from the free throw line and knock down shots. And again, though, that comes back to if those shots aren't falling, you have to be solid on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, Montana State able to just pull out a 74-71 win. Michaela Dyer, an opportunity there at the end of shot from about 27 feet or so that was in and out, a tough one for you. But give your girls credit, they were able to come right back 2 days later and take on a young Montana team that really scrapped and fought for the majority of that contest. A good game, though, for your side as the game wore on Saturday.
Well, Montana's, they've just had the injury bug. It's unfortunate, but if you look at that team, that's a lot of freshmen out there running around. They're going to be really good here time Reno comes because they're going to have a lot more experience. They're going to understand some things a little bit differently the second time they go around through conference. So, again, that game's, you never can count them out because it's Montana. That's just the way it is. And we just needed to go ahead and just come out and try to put a full game together. And I thought, again, we were a little lackluster on the defensive side. But that's something that you can improve upon. It's something you can learn from. And we were fortunate enough to score more points, and get on a run. And that was a big key for us.
Yeah, you really dominated the glass throughout their zone defense, lending itself to that. A lot of offensive rebounds, 21 in the contest. A couple moments in that first half where those outside shots just weren't falling, but that picked up over the course of the game.
Yeah, and I thought we took some really good shots. I really did. I thought we moved the ball and got the ball in the right hands at the right time. Every now and then you're going to be rushing the shot clock situation and things like that, but we really just, I thought we're attacking the offensive side of the ball the correct way, what we want to do against their zone. You go, boy, I wish those would have fell, but then I look at it from the other standpoint too. If they didn't fall this game, they're going to fall the next game.
Sure, right. You led by just 2 at the half, but would start to pull away in the second. You led by as many as 17 in the fourth quarter. Again, the double duo of Lexi Klebo with 21 points, Michaela Dyer with 16, really helping drive your team offensively. But it was a really well-balanced attack. Fallon Frigi with the double-double. Again, you can just see the depth of this team continue to rise up in a game like this.
Well, and that's what you want to have happen. We have to remember we started 3 sophomores in this group, and Kyle's a senior. We bring Samantha off the bench. We've been out the services of Leah Zablo due to illness. So, you look at all those factors, and we're still figuring out ways, and that shows you the team is gelled and starting to play really well together. And so, for me, when I look at it, you go, hey, gang, we just got to keep battling right here. as we go through this conference season, it's going to get better and better.
Yeah, you get the 10-point win against the Lady Grizz. You improve to 5-1 now in conference play, right up near the top of the Big Sky. Up next, a tough road trip. You got to go to Ogden and you got to go to Pocatello. These are two teams in Weber State and Idaho State that ended your tournaments last year in the Big Sky Conference Tournament and then in the WBI. Not that you need any extra motivation, but that's got to be nice for the girls to look back and think about this and get really fired up for these two games.
You know, when you're playing these two teams, obviously that's in the back of your mind a little bit, but at the same time, they're different teams, you know, and we have to go ahead and say, hey, you know, we're different from last year as well. And then we have to play that game and see what happens. So it'll be a difficult road trip, always is. You know, the goal is to go out there and get two, and, you know, worst case scenario, you split. But, you know, that's the way it is.
Yeah, a couple of good teams in the Wildcats and the Bengals right in the middle of the pack right now in the Big Sky. So a good test for you moving forward before you get to come back home. Coach, best of luck. Safe travels on the road this week. We'll talk to you about it next week.
Yep, thank you.
Well, Travis Brewster coming up next. Women's hockey is back in action. Brian Idalski sits down with us here in studio when UND Sports Extra returns. Would have been over a month since UND women's hockey had taken the ice in a competitive game, but the Fighting Hawks did not need too much time to shake off the rust. And here to talk about the weekend against Minnesota State, the head coach, Brian Idalski. And Brian, it had been 27 days since your last game on December the 17th. Just talk a little bit about what was going on over the holiday break for you and your team.
Well, for me personally, just a couple days off around the holiday, and then our staff hits the recruiting trail. So Eric and I were out here in North America. Peter ran back to Europe, watched Nations Cup tournament and the U18 tournament, and so that was nice. Player-wise, a bunch of our players played internationally over the break, which was nice. So we were actually missing Hallie and Emma Newton for our last set of games in December. And then they also played in the Nations Cup with Finland, and then Anna Kilpinen and Vilma Taskinen. And also Dorsey Megas played for Hungary over the break. So those kids didn't get back till middle of last week. And we had the rest of the group for about 2 weeks, which is terrific skill-wise. That's a great opportunity for us to really work and develop our younger players.
Yeah, great chance to build some fundamentals, even if the whole team wasn't there. And you mentioned, again, a tight turnaround for some of those girls coming back from international duty. Kind of makes it tough to get the gang together and on the same page with such a short time between when they return and your first series against Minnesota State.
Yeah, there's a couple flight delays in there, and when they get back, jet lag, so you have to give them a day to kind of get their feet set and take care of some things with the start of school academically and get situated there. And then we were on the road right away in a couple games against Mankato.
Yeah, the Friday night game against Mankato State. You started off okay, got a quick goal early, then they come back and get 2 goals on the power play to take a 2-1 lead into the third. First time all season, though, your team able to turn around a deficit in the third period and come out with a big victory with 2 big goals from senior defensemen.
Well, it was a little shaky, as you can imagine, coming out of the chute, but we did have the better of play, penalty kill. Like I said, with a lot of those kids not coming back, not a lot of time to work on that special team systems. Gave up a couple power play goals that we normally don't, a couple blown assignments, not blocking down lanes, and so they get up on us real quick, bang bang, a couple power plays, but some good leadership by our seniors. A great response to start out the third, and then we did what we needed to do to win a hockey game.
Yeah, a couple of big goals from Hallie Krasaniak, a goal from Grayson Hershey. You get the gritty 3-2 win on Friday. Different story on Saturday, a much more complete performance, and it started really right in that first period.
Well, we talked about playing right away and not waiting around and really being much better systematically, and we worked. We came out, we were hungry, we got the lead, built on it and continued to go, and it was a really solid win all the way around. And nice to get Kristen Campbell a start and some experience, and for her to get the shutout, that was terrific. First one of many, we're hoping.
Yeah, Campbell making 22 saves in just her second start in her freshman season. A big 4-0 win for you. 3 early goals in that first period. You outshot them 19-5 in the first 20 minutes to really set that tone. Neat to see Rebecca Kolstad, too, a Mankato kid, getting the goal on the board against the Mavericks.
Yeah, really awesome. Family was there, extended family. She has a great family and support, but also her high school team made the game. So for her to produce and have a great weekend in front of everybody, that was terrific.
Yeah, nice to get the sweep on the road to get back into WCHA play. Now a little tougher test. You go a little further east to take on Wisconsin and Madison. It's a Badger team that has won 6 straight and playing good hockey as always. You played them close earlier in October in the Ralph. What can you do to try and replicate that and try and get a W?
Well, I'm super excited for this series just because if there was a weekend where I thought that we weren't ready or that we were on our heels the whole time, it was probably that weekend. And that's the one weekend I really didn't think that we competed to our level, or you know. So I'm really excited to see how far we've grown and how much this young team has matured, and this will be a great test for us, and we're looking forward to competing at a high level.
Yeah, we expect another big atmosphere. They just had 15,000 people in their bowl for their Pack the Bowl night just this last week. This is a fun rivalry and a good chance for your girls to really show their stuff.
Yeah, no, atmosphere over there is terrific. Last couple of years it's been a sellout, and everyone on top being good noise and good energy, and we kind of thrive in that. I think we really enjoy that. A booze, a cheer on the road, so it's all good.
There you go. Well, best of luck. Safe travels out there. We'll talk to you about it soon.
Thanks a lot, Alex.
Well, Brian Idalski back in a moment to wrap things up here on UND Sports Extra.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by Farmers Union Insurance and the University of North Dakota.
Midco Sports Network's coverage of North Dakota athletics continues in full force this weekend, starting with UND men's basketball taking on defending Big Sky champ Weber State on Thursday at 7 p.m. and continuing Saturday afternoon as the Fighting Hawks battle Idaho State at 2 p.m. Both of those games can be seen on MidcoSN 2, while Saturday night at 7 p.m. on MidcoSN, do not miss UND men's hockey against NCHC leading Minnesota Duluth in a huge series in the Penrose Cup race. Elsewhere around UND athletics, women's hoops are on the road in Ogden and Pocatello this week. Women's hockey is in Madison to take on the top-ranked Badgers, and track and field is in Brookings for a big indoor meet at South Dakota State. We'll catch you up on all the events in UND athletics next Tuesday night here on UND Sports Extra. Until then, I'm Alex Heinert. Thanks for watching.